You know, it's interesting. In an interview, this is a sidebar here, and I often talk about this myself. You always get behavioral questions, right? One of them, it's like, tell me about a time that, right?
Right.
And there's a million of them, ... But one of the examples I often refer to, and you alluded to it, tell me about a time you failed and had to recover. What happened? What'd you learn? How'd you build your confidence back?
Right.
And everybody has a good example, but there's such a fear, I think, early on, right, of
Right.
failure. But you talk a lot about that in the book, and I think it's great advice for a young person.
Listen, it's not rocket science. It's all very real. How many times did I have to go through that with nobody telling me before I learned it was okay, right? So if I can put that in a book and help a few people not have to try over and over again like I did, why not do that?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, I'm going to pivot again.
Okay.
I love the introduction to your book, right? And my favorite person in the book is now Mary, right?
Okay.
And Mary had a big impact on your life.
Right.
Tell the story of Mary and what it meant to you and why it possibly changed your life.
Well, yeah. Let me just say that doing things out of the ordinary, doing things that nobody else would think of doing or would have the guts to try, have been a cornerstone of a lot of my successes and a lot of yours too, I'm sure. And in doing so, you really can have some profound success. So I found out at a very early age. The book starts with the story of me going to a college fair. And the reason I went to the college fair was because I was in high school, and they said, if you go to the college fair, you can leave early. So who wouldn't want to leave school early, right? So it was it was at the Hartford Civic Center, about a half hour away from my high school. So I drove to the Hartford Civic Center, and you had to go. You had to prove you were there, so you got a registration pass. And in those days, the way you learned about potential universities you wanted to attend was through a book called The Barron's Guide. You remember the Barron's book?
That freaking thing was like 10 pounds, right?
It had like a half a page or a page of every university. It was like a telephone book. And we don't even have telephone books anymore, let alone this Barron's Guide. But it was probably a 5-pound book. It looked like an old-fashioned telephone book. And that's how you found out about schools.
It was the only go-to, right?
Right. There were no pictures. And if you felt like you were a candidate or you wanted to know more about the school, you could call a phone number and they would mail you, like pamphlets and pictures and things like that.
More insight,
Or you could, a lot of them you had to write and request it and send them a postage paid envelope so they could send you something back.
Right.
So I'm standing in the Hartford Civic Center with this 5-pound book, and I'm trying to figure out what school I'm going to talk to. There's tables and tables of schools. And my parents had told me that you could go to any school you want as long as you had a relative within a 1-hour drive in case there was an emergency or you needed something. So I don't have a big family, so that was limiting. So my grandparents were in Florida, and I had seen the University of Florida sign out in the sea of schools. So I said, let me look at Florida. So I went to my book, University of Florida, and I was like, Gainesville? Where is Gainesville? My grandparents live in Fort Lauderdale. How far away is that?
Right.
So, you couldn't go to your cell phone or anything to figure this out. So I find out it's like far away from my grandparents, but I see University of Miami, and I think to myself, I know where Miami is, and that I can get there. I think that's a good option. I walk up to the table, and there's this lovely woman, and she's talking to me about the University of Miami, and she hands me a pen that says 1983 National Football Champions. And I had seen them on TV, and it seemed like a great option. But I don't really know what I'm looking for at that point. And she gives me some pamphlets and a folder and the pen. And
This is Mary, by the way, right?
yes, this
Turns
is
out it's
Mary
yeah.
Conway.
Oh, you remember her last name?
Yeah, I mean, so I said to her, she was very disheveled, yawning, and
It's a hard job.
yeah. And she was apologizing. I'm sorry, I she's flying all over the country for
Yeah.
these college fairs. So I said, well, you look exhausted. She goes, yeah, this is my last one. I get to go home after this. So out of the blue, I don't even know why I said it. I said, would you like to come over to my house for dinner? And her face dropped, and she was so appreciative. And she said, I would love that. So I said, okay, here's my address. And I ran to a payphone. You had to put, a dime or a quarter in the payphone.
For you Gen Zs out there, they don't exist anymore, but there used to be payphones.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to make a call, there would be phones on
How
the
much
wall.
it was a dime, right? Or a nickel. whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to date myself. I mean,
Might have been a nickel when I did. But anyway, there used to be payphones. Got it.
right. So I ran to a payphone. I called my mother, and I said, Mom, I have this woman coming over for dinner from the University of Miami. She says, what's her name? I can't remember. What's with the University of Miami? Do you want to go there? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, when is she coming? I don't know. After she finishes here. Does she know how to get here? I don't know. I gave her the address. We didn't have GPS
Right,
or anything.
of course.
So my mom says, okay, come home. I'll call your father and we'll have dinner. So I went home, and my dad comes home, and we're waiting, and my dad's like, oh, no one's going to show up. How's she going to find it? And lo and behold, she showed up. We had a great dinner.
What was the dinner? Do you recall?
No, but I remember I had to pick up a pie on the way home for dessert.
Oh, for dessert. Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So what happened as a result?
So
Why was that an important?
She ended up being the director of
Yeah.
admissions.
You never know.
Right. And within a very short period of time, I received an application with a thank you note that said, you don't have to pay the application fee, send this directly to me. And within a few weeks, I was accepted to the University of Miami without ever having seen it. So early in the process that when I went to school and told my friends I got accepted to college, they didn't believe me
Yeah.
because nobody had even applied yet. And how did I do it?
Yeah.
So my guidance counselor called them and said, is he really accepted?
Yeah. Mary liked dinner.
Mary had a good dinner.
No, but I think it's an amazing story, but it set you on your path for
So that was
where
an
you are.
unexpected thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What's the message?
What 17-year-old kid would have said, hey, stranger, would you
Yeah.
like to come to my house for dinner?
Yeah.
But what it displayed to me as myself was I have to act with empathy.
Mm.
I have to do things with the idea that other people have to benefit. I have to provide value if I want people to provide value for me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Reciprocate. Reciprocation's a big thing that you do someone a favor in this world, it's very rare that they even realize that they should reciprocate.
Yeah.
And what I realized at that point was a lot. It taught me a lot, but hey, my unique value proposition,
Back to
even
Vic.
yeah,
Yeah.
even at that stage was I could be that guy that forms relationships, being genuine, authentic, all of these things you hear today, like you have to be genuine, you have to be authentic. I was really doing that.
Yeah. You probably didn't even know that was one of your core skills at
Right.
the time.
Right. Had no
amazing.
idea. But when I got to college and, from then on, I became a leader. People were happy to follow me. I led with empathy. I led with, trying to understand all sides of every argument. It made me a better attorney. It helped me when I got into a relationship with my wife. It's kept me grounded. It's kept me married. I've built alumni groups, as you know, very successful alumni groups. You can't pull that many people together if you're not leading with some form of empathy.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it's been a key to my success.
No, it's a wonderful story, and let me just ask you a short version of this because we can talk forever about it. Mm-hmm. Our listener out there might be saying, that's great, Jerry D., right? But that's not me. That's not my personality. It's not inherent in who I am. So the question is, can you learn this stuff, or it's embedded in your genetics of who you are, right? And that's a difficult topic, but what's your headline?
I think, again, everybody has the unique value.
Yeah.
Right? Mine happens to be relationship building.
Okay.
Mentoring moments, right? But you don't have to have the same one as me. You can be really, really successful because of another unique value proposition.
Makes sense.
Oh, and there's not just one value proposition. You can possess many. Yeah. You have to possess many. The more you have, the more successful you can be as a leader, as a mentor, and in getting people to follow you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, let's pivot.
Okay.
Because I got a lot of stuff here, and we're going to run out of time. But
Okay.
we got time.
Okay, good.
Let's shift the focus on faculty today at universities, right?
Yes.
And you and I are both huge advocates of enhancing career readiness at schools, and it's a whole nother discussion for another day. But the point is, what message would you be given to a faculty member today, given everything you've been talking about and what's in the book? Are they aware of any of this stuff? Or what message would you give to faculty as they're thinking about readiness for Gen Zs?
Right. I think they are all starting to think about it because they have to. Mm. You hear an awful lot about ROI. Mm-hmm. Why are we going to college? Why are we paying so much to go to college? Do we need to go to college? And again, listen, college might not be for everyone, but I don't believe that. I think everyone should go to college. I think there is a college for everyone. You don't have to go to Harvard and you don't have to go to community college. There may be something in between. You can find the right school for you. And I think that when you're in college, a 4-year institution, you're dealing with a lot of different people, a lot of personalities. You're learning how the world works. And I really don't like hearing people say, oh, you can just get a skill and become a welder or a plumber. Not that those things aren't great, but I think you should go to college and then become an electrician because that's going to build you into a well-rounded person who can do many, many different things. Mm-hmm. And your professors, your faculty, should be speaking to you from 2 angles, in my humble opinion. First is context, right? We're giving you all this knowledge. Yeah. Let's put it into context. Why do you want to learn about World War II? Why do you want to learn about ancient civilizations? Why do you need to know math? You might not need to know those things in order to earn a living, but you need to know those things in order to be a well-rounded member of society who can, be valuable, right? So there's no ROI when it comes to creating your unique value proposition. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. Faculty needs to put that into context. And then they need to share connections with you. They need to let you
Yes.
know this is where you're going. This is your major. This is where you're going. Here are some people you can talk to that have had the same major, whom I've worked with, who I've taught. I see on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that faculty need to be in touch with their graduates to see what's going on in the workforce, learn about what they should be teaching, and they should be connected.
Yeah. So, not to hate on faculty, but I'll put you on the spot if any of them are listening. What percentage, roughly, there's no math on this, of faculty today do you think actually understand what you're talking about and practice?
Yeah, I like to joke around about higher education. I feel like nobody changes anything in higher education unless they feel like they're going to be fired. If they're gonna, or if it's gonna go out of business,
Yeah.
you know, if we don't get students jobs, then we're not going to have a job. That's why they're motivated to do things. If they have tenure and they feel like I'm riding this out, I teach my class, I go home, they're not going to they're not going to embrace any of that.
Yeah.
So what percentage? I don't know what percentage.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of them are not helping students
Right, today.
today.
So I just thought of this. Faculty members should read Spilling the Career Tea.
They should watch the podcast. They should read the book.
No, I mean on it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of information there.
Listen, you and I both know we work with tons of faculty
Yeah.
that get it,
Yeah.
right? How many faculty come to us and say, can you set up a career crawl for us? Or can you talk to this student? They need some help. We know the faculty who get it, and we know that they get it because they're asking us to participate. They're asking for our help, and they have great relationships with their students.
Yeah.
Some of these faculty members, their students would, take a bullet for them.
Yeah. And a lot of them have come out of industry, right? I mean, the ones that are best. Yeah.
Most of them
Have
that
come out of industry.
most of them that do that
All right.
understand.
There's a whole section of the book on exercises, right? Which I think is unique. So it allows the reader to not only absorb the content, but to apply in what I found to be very simple, practical application exercisers. Speak just for a minute about why are those exercisers there and how they can help.
It's basically based on my experience. My first job out of college, I had nice clothing. I wore suits, but I didn't have a lot of it. So I really struggled with trying to look professional but not wearing the same thing every day. And I didn't have the means to buy a lot of different outfits, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, when we started, you had to be formal at work.
We wore
Suit
ties.
and tie, yeah.
We wore ties. Nobody
Right.
wears ties anymore.
So I did the best I could. And one day, a secretary came up to me and said, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I really like you. Everybody here really likes you. But your shoes are horrible. You wear the same shoes every day, and they're falling apart."
Oh, well,
And I didn't even notice. I had not even thought about it.
yeah.
And she took me at lunch. She took me shopping. And we bought a pair of
Wow.
shoes.
Wow.
She tried to buy me the shoes, and I was like, no, I'm not. You don't have to buy me the shoes. But it didn't dawn on me, right? So one of the exercises is simply a checklist that says, here, let's map out what you're going to wear every day, and can you get this amount of shoes, right? Because if I had 2 pairs of shoes, maybe I wouldn't have been embarrassed like that. Maybe nobody would have noticed. And I probably could have swung it so I'd work a little overtime and get 3 pairs of shoes,
Yeah.
right? But things like that always stuck with me. And if I could put that in a book and somebody doesn't have to deal with that, I feel like I'm helping.
That's awesome, right? Although I'd say today it's all about the Gen Zs bring a haul, right? They call it. They show it on TikTok, right?
Right.
And their fit, so to speak, is always on point.
Right.
But maybe there are a few that it's not. And these, so that's an example. There's 15, 20 exercises at least
Yeah.
in the book.
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. A lot of it is about just showing up and what it's trying to give insight into what coworkers or supervisors will notice and be looking
Yeah.
at so that you can be a little bit ahead of the game.
Look, I think all of that to the point and delivered simply with understanding was my view. It's easy to pick up these points. And then you have one other thing I'll mention. You call it a chapter end flex summary, or what's the term?
Oh, every chapter ends with a final flex.
Final flex.
Right.
What is it?
It's just the conclusion. It ties everything from the chapter together, gives you a little motivation to sort of remember that chapter and carry it with you.
All right. What are you hoping this book does in the aggregate for those that will read it and cherish it? And I think you said somewhere it's not a one and done.
No, I'm hoping that people can use it and refer to it as a guide, right? If you have an issue and you just want to look at the chapter on communication for some guidance, or you don't know how to deal with a tough coworker, you're having a little trouble, maybe you can just refer to an example and that example may resonate with you, and then there'll be some guidance in how to deal with these tough issues that you and I deal with every day, and it's second nature, but early in our careers it was probably a bigger deal than it really had to be.
Yeah, no, understood. Why'd you choose Spilling the Career Tea? Spilling the Career Tea as the title.
Because that's what we do.
Okay.
Right? That's what the title of our podcast is. And that's how we know each other. Not know each other, but that's how people know us. And that's our brand. We spill the tea, the career tea. Anything you need to know, we can figure it out.
Well, Mr. Jerry D, as we sort of bring this to a natural conclusion, congratulations. I look, the simplicity, the content, the applicability, real life examples, the insight, I think, is tremendously helpful. It's not theory. It's not generic. I think it brings your flavor and your passion into the book, and you could see that in every step of the way. And, my hope for you is that it goes TikTok famous. We'll talk about that. But the message is real and sincere. I didn't realize it took you 4 years, and that's why it's so, not it took you, but comprehensive in all the notes that were in this. You're a career readiness expert. And if an individual, young professionals, employers, professors can all get a lot from this book, and I wish you tremendous success. Congrats.
Thank you,
for
Bill.
pulling this thing together.
Thank you.
Guys, that's a wrap. This is special for me, right? That we turn the tables on you. But I'm looking forward to seeing how the book does, how you build on it, and tremendous accomplishment, I think. And still love the story about Mary. It changed your life, right, in a lot of ways.
It did. We have a lot more stories to tell. So the next book we're going to co-write.
Spilling the Career Tea, right, as we say. And I love the fit in this one, if you could see it. This is the real cover, right?
That's the cover.
This is it?
Yeah.
What are you wearing in this one?
That's a pea coat.
Pea coat. Nobody knows what a pea coat is.
Listen, I'd like to thank Jarrett Birnbaum, who did the photography.
Yes.
My editor, Anna Claire Sung, and the great Jared Goldstein, who did the design and the artwork.
Yes.
So a lot of people came together to help me, especially you, my wife Eileen, my daughter Leah. Everybody made this happen, and I can't thank everybody enough.
Jerry, this has been great. Thank you. Thank you for letting me spill some tea on you today. And get the book.